Oh, come on. You don't go for that flirty, cutesy Barbie doll crap, do ya? I mean, she was so obvious.
Sara Gilbert appears to be living the life of luxury thanks to her role as the charming and cunning Darlene Connor on Roseanne and its spin-off. However, rumblings of conflict suggest another narrative lurking beneath the surface. Were you aware that she had any bumps on the road to happiness? Come explore with us the lesser-known struggles and tragedies that Sara Gilbert has endured. Many people have been deeply affected by the tragic events surrounding the life of Sara Gilbert, an acclaimed actress and producer. For many years, Gilbert has been a mainstay in show business. Nevertheless, there is a personal narrative characterized by substantial hardship and loss that lurks behind her professional achievements. Gilbert has had a lot of success in her career, but she has also had to deal with a lot of pressure and mistakes. The challenge of leading the Roseanne revival and then moving on to The Connors, following Roseanne Barr's contentious exit, was immense. Other personal troubles have also befallen Gilbert. Despite the importance and bravery of her coming out as a lesbian in public, she faced many obstacles. She faced societal pressures and the complexity of acceptance in her personal and professional life as she navigated her sexual identity in the public eye. What tragic event occurred to Sara Gilbert? Is this a factual error, though? Let's take a deep dive into Sara Gilbert's life and examine the unforeseen obstacles that this gifted actress has encountered, whether on or off screen. Sarah Rebecca Ablis came into this world in Santa Monica, California, on January 29, 1975. Her name is Sara Gilbert. Sarah inherited a significant portion of her family's Jewish culture and religion from her parents, Harold Ablis and Barbara Cowan née Crane. Harry Crane, Sarah's maternal grandpa, was a major player in Hollywood as the brains behind the hit sitcom The Honeymooners. Growing up in a household with Crane's influence on Sarah's ambitions and professional trajectory was evident. The dynamics within Sarah's family were multifaceted and intricate. Melissa and Jonathan Gilbert, two of Sarah's older half-siblings and two older adopted siblings, were famous for their parts in the hit TV show Little House on the Prairie. Sarah looked up to them and found direction in their family's successful television career. She became even more firmly rooted in this family of performers in 1984 when she took the surname Gilbert from her mother's first husband, Paul. Sarah has two further siblings, a brother called Joseph and a sister called Patrice, on her father's side. Sarah had an eclectic childhood, enriched by her large, mixed family's exposure to many cultures and ways of thinking. Sarah was always in the middle of artistic and theatrical pursuits as a child. Her grandfather's reputation in television humor and her elder sister Melissa's accomplishments on Little House on the Prairie provided Sarah with a strong foundation to pursue her dreams of being an actress. Even as a little girl, she had her sights set on being a Hollywood star, much like her famous family. The life-altering potential of artistic pursuits is on full display in Sara Gilbert's trajectory into acting and her interaction with conventional education. Gilbert had a hard time in the traditional school setting, as she explained in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. "Honestly, I did not love being in regular school, so anything that put me in a more creative environment was a plus," according to her. This phrase perfectly encapsulates the inner struggle she had when she was a young student, longing for an environment that encouraged creativity instead of the regimented structure of a regular classroom. At the tender age of 5, she earned her big break in a Kool-Aid ad. This chance allowed her to break free from the restrictive confines of regular schooling while simultaneously gaining admission to the world of acting. This early foray into acting was formative because it gave her direction and an outlet for her creative energies that she had been lacking in the more traditional academic setting. This is what Gilbert had to say about The Talk, according to Yahoo, demonstrate how performing changed her life. Nothing less than her life was saved by her engagement in acting, she claimed. "I was lucky. For me, I was so miserable in school. And having that life, the creative outlet, kind of saved my life in ways," said the woman. Gilbert did concede, though, that hers was an exceptional case and that, even under ideal conditions, launching an acting career at such a tender age was not without its difficulties. In spite of everything, she still thought it was a dream come true to be able to go from conventional school to getting tutoring. She was able to succeed academically and follow her acting dream to stardom because to the individualized attention and supportive learning environment she received from tutors. The role of Darlene Connor on the pioneering 1988 television series Roseanne catapulted Sara Gilbert to fame at the young age of 13. She rose to fame as a gifted young actor because to her part as the witty and bright middle child of the Connor family. She was involved in Roseanne in more ways than just acting. She helped shape the show's direction as well. Her writing skills were on full display in Season 4's Don't Make Me Over, an episode that showcased her acting chops and other talents. The moment Gilbert became famous was somewhat strange, considering her career success. In contrast to many other child performers, Gilbert's meteoric climb to prominence occurred just as she entered puberty, rather than throughout her formative years. Adolescence is a difficult time because of all the changes happening on a physical, emotional, and mental level. During an interview on Late Night with Seth Meyers, Gilbert candidly admitted, "I was a very young, awkward person. It's hard to have your teenage years in front of everybody." This statement illuminates the distinct challenges she encountered as a child growing up in the spotlight. Being a teenager in the limelight made already challenging things much more so. Gilbert had already dabbled in show business, but juggling her sudden celebrity with the normal challenges of adolescence was difficult. In a 1993 interview with Deadline, she went into further detail about this, saying, "The only weird thing about being a famous teenager was that it's a really strong juxtaposition between the adoration and attention and the normal feelings of loneliness and isolation that can come with being a teenager." By enrolling at Yale, she finally felt like she belonged in 1993. In 1997, Gilbert earned a degree with honors from Yale University, where he studied art with a photography concentration. She discussed the arduous process in an interview with the Yale Alumni Association, explaining that she had to go to Los Angeles to film Roseanne, then return to New York on a red-eye, and finally reach Connecticut by train. As Darlene Connor and for the program as a whole, Sara Gilbert was an indispensable part of Roseanne and its popularity. When Gilbert opted to attend Yale University, the show's producers made significant adjustments because they recognized her value. This choice may have caused major delays in production and plot continuity as well as logistical nightmares. But producers rearranged plots and recording schedules to keep Gilbert on the show since her input was so important. After establishing herself as Darlene Connor on Roseanne, Sara Gilbert shone her flexibility as an actor and director by continuing to grow her career in cinema and television. For the 1992 thriller Poison Ivy, Gilbert co-starred with Drew Barrymore. The picture benefited from Gilbert's performance, which demonstrated her capacity to take on adult parts despite her youth. Penny Marshall's 2001 coming-of-age movie, Riding in Cars with Boys, reunited Gilbert and Barrymore to explore the narrative of a young woman's battles as she deals with the difficulties of being a single mother. The film's emotional and narrative depth were enhanced by Gilbert's supporting performance. Gilbert starred in the 1999 drama Light It Up, which deals with school reform and social justice. Starring Forrest Whitaker and Usher, the film followed a group of high school students as they kidnapped their school in an act of protest over the unfair treatment of a beloved teacher. Gilbert's flexibility and dedication to projects with powerful social implications were on full display in her performance in the movie. The role that Gilbert played after her stint on Roseanne was one of numerous small parts she had in films like $30 or $30, which were part of the movie Boy's Life 3 Inches and went by several other names. On the 2000 romantic comedy drama High Fidelity, Gilbert had a small part opposite John Cusack. The story follows a record store owner in Chicago as he deals with love and life in general, adapted from Nick Hornby's novel. Gilbert contributed to the film's diverse and interesting ensemble, even if her part was little. Gilbert has dabbled with directing as well as performing. She was able to step outside of her acting comfort zone and into the realm of filmmaking with the 1998 short film Persona non grata. A theater performance that Gilbert was a part of in 2000 was The Hot L Baltimore at the Williamstown Theater Festival in Massachusetts. Additionally, she was a frequent TV guest. The Simpsons, 24, Will and Grace, Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, and Private Practice are just a few of the notable programs on which she has guest featured. The critically renowned medical drama ER cast Gilbert in a recurring role in 2004. She brought a new dimension to the show as the sassy and brilliant medical student Jane Figler. Throughout seasons 11-13, she made an appearance, adding to several plot points while showing how her character evolved in the tough ER setting. After finding popularity on ER, Gilbert landed a regular role in primetime television in the autumn of 2005 on the WB network sitcom Twins. The sitcom was canceled after one season despite its promise. This was because to the cancellation of several shows caused by the merging of the WB and UPN networks into the CW. The short-lived CBS comedy, The Class, also featured her in a recurring role. She brought her comic timing and ability to make characters accessible to life in her depiction of Fern Velch. Fans loved Gilbert's performance, even if The Class didn't stay on the air for long. Gilbert guest starred on CBS's The Big Bang Theory from 2007 until 2010 as Johnny Galecki's Leonard Hofstadter, scientific pal Leslie Winkle. Particularly interesting about this casting choice was Galecki's prior appearance on the hit TV comedy Roseanne as Gilbert's romantic interest David Healy. For fans who had followed the performers from their previous roles, this brought back fond memories. The Big Bang Theory promoted Gilbert's character Leslie Winkle to the main cast in the second episode of the second season. Gilbert, in her role as Leslie, represented a woman who may have been romantically involved with Leonard Galecki, and at one time with Simon Helberg's Howard Wolowitz. But it was revealed in January 2009 that the writers were having trouble working Leslie Winkle into the plots of the program consistently. This led to Gilbert's downgrade from regular to recurring status on the program. As the program added additional significant female characters like Mayim Bialik's Amy Farrah Fowler and Melissa Rauch's Bernadette Rostenkowski, the role of Leslie Winkle was finally removed. New tensions and plot lines were introduced by these people, who eventually proved pivotal to the series' developing narrative. Gilbert moved on from her work on The Big Bang Theory to co-hosting and executive producing the daytime chat program The Talk, which debuted on October 18, 2010. Daytime television's mainstay, The Talk, provided a forum for conversations about politics, pop culture, and individual experiences. Gilbert, in her roles as program creator and producer, was honored with a Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Entertainment Talk Program in 2016. Her accomplishments in the television industry were recognized by this distinction, which showcased her talent for thriving in all aspects of entertainment creation. Sara Gilbert's personal life, in addition to her professional accomplishments, has attracted public attention. Johnny Galecki, who played David in Roseanne, and Sara Gilbert had a fascinating real-life connection. While shooting the program, the two actors began dating, but they were only together for a short time, and they were confused about why they broke up. The connection between Gilbert and Galecki was discussed in an episode of The Talk in 2013 by Gilbert. She went on to say that the connection between them was only there on set and that they never really clicked in real life. Over time, Gilbert had an epiphany that her homosexuality was the root cause of their inability to connect. When she was having a hard time accepting herself sexually, she told how Galecki was there for her and protected her secret. Gilbert voiced her concerns about the possible repercussions of coming out, including the effect on her profession and the ability to continue playing straight parts. Friendships between Gilbert and Galecki continued even after they broke up. Their friendship lasted because they trusted and respected one another. Significant progress was made by Gilbert on his path to self-acceptance and public coming out in 2010. By that point, she had relaxed enough to be herself among others. Melissa Gilbert, Sara's sister, admitted on The Talk that she realized Sara needed to come to terms with her sexuality on her own terms, even if she had always been aware of it. Sara Gilbert has made no secret of her desire to have open conversations with her kids about homophobia. She has a strong connection to this issue on a personal level, both in her role as a public figure and as a mother who wants her children to know the value of diversity and inclusion. In an appearance with The Talk, Gilbert recounted a personal story that underlined the need of having these discussions. One of her children came up to her bewildered and said, "You know, you can't get married," while she was engaged. This was because same-sex marriage was not yet legal. Gilbert learned from this exchange the value of correcting and eradicating biases and misunderstandings that children may pick up from their environment. She stressed that if we don't talk about these important issues, kids will grow up thinking same-sex relationships are bad, which would only lead to more prejudice and misinformation. Gilbert's acceptance of her sexuality has been slow in coming. She started dating TV producer Ali Adler in 2001, and the couple had a son, Levi Hank, in October 2004, and a daughter, Sawyer Jane, in August 2007, Adler's and Gilbert's. Gilbert kept her private life, especially her sexuality, under wraps for a long time, even though she was rather visible in the public eye. In July of 2010, when starting her talk program, The Talk, she finally came out as a lesbian to the public. But Gilbert revealed in August 2011 that she and Adler had divorced peacefully. For Gilbert, it was a difficult time when their relationship ended. She discussed the breakup's emotional toll on an episode of The Talk shortly after it happened, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Gilbert broke down in tears as she spoke about how she felt about her relationship with Adler ending. Gilbert said that the breakup had caused her to do deep existential soul-searching in her moving contemplation. Despite never having been married herself, she admitted to doubting the permanence and quality of long-term partnerships, particularly marriage. "I feel like I do not know if marriage is all it is cracked up to be," said the woman. The emotional toll of the split was brought to light by Gilbert's candor in discussing her uncertainties and anxieties. Gilbert thought on the significance of relationships, especially those that last into old age, as she reflected on her experience. She wondered how couples manage to keep their relationships going for so long, and expressed both admiration and interest for those who do. Her thoughts demonstrated her want for a meaningful relationship and her optimism for the possibility of forming another such partnership down the road. After the breakup, Sara Gilbert started seeing Linda Perry, a musician, producer, and ex-frontwoman of the band Four Non-Blondes. Gilbert made a dramatic change in her private life in April 2013 when she announced the couple's engagement. In a ceremony that represented a new beginning for Gilbert, the pair later tied the wedding on March 30, 2014. Representations first said that Gilbert and Adler's breakup was amicable, but later stories suggested otherwise. Insiders say that once Gilbert started seeing and eventually married Perry, Adler felt betrayed by him. The engagement of Gilbert and Perry was the final dagger for Adler, according to a source who spoke to Radar Online. Adler, according to the source, would have rather worked on her relationship with Gilbert than stop it suddenly. With the birth of their son, Rhodes Emilio Gilbert Perry, on February 28, 2015, Gilbert and Perry's new chapter in life was swiftly enlarged, and further intricate dimension was given to Gilbert's tale by the happy event of Rhodes's birth. But Gilbert and Perry's relationship had its ups and downs. Gilbert formally ended his 5-year marriage to Perry on December 27, 2019, by filing for a legal separation. A pioneering depiction of a working-class American family, Roseanne was a smash hit during its initial run. Nevertheless, several members of the ensemble dealt with their own tragedies and hardships behind the scenes. Mark Healy, Darlene's elder sister Becky Connor's boyfriend, a leather-jacketed figure, was portrayed by Irish actor Glenn Quinn in the original Roseanne run. The show's depiction of working-class American life was enhanced by Quinn's portrayal of Mark, who was adored by viewers. But Quinn had serious personal issues, especially with substance abuse, that she dealt with behind the scenes. Even though Glenn Quinn was supposedly in remission when filming Roseanne, few people knew about his troubles with substance addiction when the show first aired. Unfortunately, Quinn's struggle with addiction worsened when Roseanne ended in 1997. Despite his new position in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer spin-off Angel, his problems only became worse. The Irish Independent quotes his sister as saying, "It was at this time that Glenn's struggles took over. We as a family were very supportive in helping him. Though there were periods of sobriety, ultimately it consumed him." Everyone who knew and loved Quinn was devastated by his sudden passing in 2002 when he was just 32 years old. His passing brought attention to the destructive effects of substance abuse and the hidden challenges that many people endure. Nevertheless, Quinn's impact on the Roseanne series and his unforgettable performances ensure that his legacy will endure. But when plans were underway to revive Roseanne for 8 episodes with Sara Gilbert serving as executive producer, fans were understandably excited. Gilbert, who had previously portrayed Darlene Connor on the original series, had a pivotal role in both the technical and creative aspects of the production. On March 27, 2018, ABC picked up the revival and returned several original cast members, including Gilbert, Laurie Metcalf, John Goodman, Roseanne Barr, and herself. Among the most heartfelt aspects of the revival's creation was Gilbert's homage to Glenn Quinn, who portrayed Becky Connor's lover and subsequently husband Mark Healy. Quinn passed away in 2016. Many of Quinn's co-workers and admirers felt a hole when he passed away suddenly. Gilbert and Johnny Galecki, who co-starred with Gilbert as David Healy, chose the name Mark for their on-screen kid in his honor. During an episode of The Talk, Gilbert revealed this emotional choice. Recognizing the importance of naming their fictitious child, she and Galecki texted one another to think, she explained. Gilbert shared, "I felt compelled to contact Johnny Galecki because this is our child together. I texted him, 'What do you think we should call our baby boy?' And then I suggested, 'Oh, maybe Mark.'" Galecki agreed that honoring Quinn's memory by naming their son Mark was a fitting tribute. Gilbert commemorated the deep friendships that developed among the cast members throughout the years by posting an Instagram photo of this heartfelt encounter and ending it with the hashtag #NamedForGlennQuinn. The homage went viral and touched viewers' hearts. The author's meticulous attention to detail in paying homage to the past while creating fresh storylines for the resurrection was emphasized. And performer from the show Roseanne Barr, has a history of disturbingly inappropriate actions. After touring with Michael Moore as a beloved leftist, Barbara Barr's political leanings changed to the right, and she became an outspoken Trump supporter and anti-woke activist. Her career collapse would be hastened by her changing opinions and more divisive actions. 2010s was when Barr's political leanings started to change. In 2016, she endorsed Donald Trump's presidential candidacy and became an enthusiastic supporter of his. Barr's rise to conservative icon status was characterized by her outspoken and sometimes contentious use of social media to discuss politics. Her public remarks and tweets demonstrated her vehement rejection of what she referred to as woke culture and political correctness. There was a lot of anticipation for Roseanne to return in 2018, and the program did not disappoint. A second season has been announced as a result of the revival's popularity, but Barr's actions on social media quickly eclipsed the popularity of the program. Valerie Jarrett was an aide to former President Barack Obama. On May 29, 2018, Barr tweeted a comparison between the two. Racist and otherwise objectionable, the tweet was roundly criticized. The decision to terminate Roseanne Barr's Roseanne reboot after only one season came following her scathing tweets about Valerie Jarrett. There was instant outrage and quick action from the network in response to Barr's racist remark. The show's cancellation was announced by ABC President Channing Dungey, who emphasized the network's dedication to diversity and inclusion, despite its initial popularity and great ratings. Both Sara Gilbert and the program were quick to deny any connection to Barr's statements. The network, the cast, and crew do not share Barr's opinions, as Gilbert made clear in her statement of displeasure. Her strong stance against Barr's comments was noteworthy, considering her crucial role in the show's comeback. After the show was canceled, ABC tried to save face by developing a spin-off called The Conners, which did not feature Barr's character. The rest of the cast was able to carry on with their parts and the show's history without Barr, thanks to this decision. After Barr was fired, The Conners, which followed the surviving family members as they adjusted to life without the matriarch, aired to mixed reviews. Barr blamed Gilbert for the show's demise and vented her pent-up animosity and hatred towards her in an interview she gave to The Washington Post in 2019. Accusing Gilbert of destroying both her life and the program, Barr said, "She destroyed the show and my life with that tweet." The former co-star's severe emotional and professional divide was laid bare by Barr's stunning statement. With a nod to a famous passage from The Silence of the Lambs, she said, "She will never get enough until she consumes my liver with a fine Chianti," evoking the passion of her emotions. In addition to her acting career, Gilbert's appearances on The Talk demonstrated her range and depth as a TV personality and provided a new platform to display her abilities. With heavy emotion, Sara Gilbert announced in 2019 that she was stepping down as co-host of The Talk after 9 years on the show. The show's August 2, 2019 episode marked her last appearance as a co-host. Many of Gilbert's followers were dismayed by her choice to stand down. But during her emotional goodbye, she told the audience that she had been struggling with the issue for a while and had finally decided it was essential. She was overworked, Gilbert said, and that was the main reason she left. It was a tough time for her since she wanted to be there for her family more, and she had a lot on her plate between her roles on The Talk and The Conners. She bemoaned the fact that she was no longer able to strike a healthy balance in her life and give her 3 children or herself the attention they deserved. "If I am being honest about it, I think my life was slightly out of balance." Sara Gilbert revealed in an interview with Variety that she had a hard time coping with the expectation to be so forthcoming about her private life. Gilbert, who is quite private, found it difficult to reveal so much about her life on national television. The freedom without having to disclose her private issues washed over her, and she said, "I am okay with letting that piece of it go." The unpredictable Sharon Osbourne is well known for her contrarian views. Some of her contentious positions include doubting Meghan Markle's black womanhood and supporting Brexit while living in the United States. As co-hosts of The Talk, Osbourne and Gilbert gave off the impression that they were quite close. When Gilbert announced her departure from the program, Osbourne was clearly sad, demonstrating this bond. Thinking back on their friendship, Osbourne sobbed as she described Gilbert's unwavering support and lovely presence for her husband during his sickness. Like emphasized the closeness of their friendship, Osbourne compared Gilbert like a sister she never had. Osbourne apparently made some really disturbing comments about Gilbert behind closed doors, despite their closeness. Osbourne was known to make homophobic slurs about Gilbert and racist ones against co-host Julie Chen, according to many people who talked with Yashar Ali of The Reset in 2021. Leah Remini, a former co-host of The Talk and one of the sources, said that Osbourne slurred Gilbert for not taking her side in the spat with Chen. Defending herself in an interview with the Daily Mail, Osbourne reiterated the harsh words she had used toward Chen while denying the claims. The claims were made more serious by this denial, yet it failed to halt the rising uproar. Following many allegations of wrongdoing in the workplace, Osbourne promptly departed from the program. Gilbert remained silent in the face of the accusations. Many people were curious about her thoughts and feelings regarding the charges and her time on the program because of her noticeable quiet. If you found this video entertaining, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and watch the next video that appears.